All right, hello, and welcome to our virtual meetup lesson. I hope that you got to join us for our virtual meetup lesson and you're just checking back to remember some of the things that we went over. But if you did not, welcome. I hope that you can join us next time. So we're going to start off with our welcoming ritual. So I want you to think about the answer to one of these questions. So the first question is, where are you from? Question 2, what is one tradition your family has? 3, think about other countries. Have you ever wanted to try a new kind of food, dance, or style of clothes? So I want you to think about that for a second and think about the answer to one of these questions and tell someone around you, tell a family member, a friend. Okay, great. We're going to keep going. So we're going to explore the question today, how does where we live or come from help shape who we are, okay? So there's a lot of different things that go into where we live or we come from, and it kind of makes us the people that we are, okay? The things that we do, the things we like, the things that we know. So we are talking about the continents specifically, and we're just going to go through each continent and talk just a little bit about each. So first we're going to start off with North America. In North America, English is the most widely spoken language, but there's also Spanish, French, and many other languages. However, Spanish and French are the second most popular. Okay, in North America, here are some natural landmarks. We have the Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, the Redwood National Park, Mauna Kea in Hawaii. All those are in the U.S. The Niagara Falls is U.S. and Canada. And then we have the Pitons in St. Lucia and Pico de Orizaba. So we have the first picture is Niagara Falls. So I very much like Niagara Falls because I actually grew up just 3 hours away from them. So Niagara Falls holds a special place in my heart. And then below we have the Pitons in St. Lucia. Okay, so those are beautiful, beautiful mountains. So for animals, in North America, there's many animals, and you probably know a lot because you live in North America. But just a few that are native to America, North America, are the brown bear, coyotes, raccoons, moose, and jaguars. So I put a little jaguar here because that's who we are at John Early. So here's some history from South America. So now we're jumping into South America. So there's evidence of human life all the way back to 9,000 BC. Okay, so that's a very long time ago. We are now in AD. So the way it goes is it counts up until they get to 0 AD. So it used to count upwards. So think about it would go 9,000 and then the next year it would be 8,999 BC and it would keep going until it got to 0 AD. And now we are in what? What's the year? 2020, right? AD. So that was a very, very long time ago. And that is actually some of the ancient ruins from the ancient civilizations in South America. So what languages are spoken here? Well, the main language is Spanish. However, in Brazil, Portuguese is the main language. Dutch is spoken, and then also some English and some native languages, which is, I'm going to do my best to pronounce it. It's Quechua, I believe, and that is a language that was spoken by the Incan people and still is spoken by the Incan people. Okay, for our animals in South America, we've got piranhas, we have anacondas, there's manatee, there are also jaguar, giant otters, and things like that. So we have a picture of a piranha. I would not want to get in the way of one of those. And then below we have a picture of a manatee. The natural landmarks, we have the Atacama Desert. It's the driest place in South America. Angel Falls, Amazon River Basin, and the Andes Mountains. And so this right here over to this side, that is the Amazon River, okay? Kind of spirals around and contributes to the rainforest. All right, so now we're going to hop over to Europe. So we're going to travel across the Atlantic Ocean and go north. And here in Europe, there are actually a lot of different languages spoken. Some are the Romance languages, which are French, Italian, and Spanish. And when I say Romance languages, I don't mean like you can only be romantic if you speak these languages. That's just what they call the root of those languages, so where they first stemmed from. The Germanic languages, which are German and English, and then the Slavic languages, which are Russian, Bulgarian, and Polish, okay? So that's just a little map of the languages. Here are some animals that you can find here. So it is home to 270 species of mammals. And from these are boars, bats, deer, hare, and otter. And you probably kind of know some of these animals. They're similar to what we would see in the United States, with a few differences. So that top picture is of a boar, and that's kind of like a wild pig. So think of like wild pig. Under that is a lynx, okay? And lynx, you might know some about them, but they are going extinct, okay? So they are very endangered. And then below that is a newt. So it's like a little salamander, kind of. All right, so right next to Europe is Asia. So it's to the right of Europe if we're looking at a map. And in Asia, there are 2,300 languages, okay? So that's a lot, guys. That's a lot. A lot of these are different dialects of Chinese, but there's also a lot of Indian languages. I believe it's 1,300 different Indian languages, or languages spoken in India, excuse me, let me correct that. And so we have a lot of different languages here. If you went to Asia, these are some things you could see. So there's the Great Wall of China, which is pictured in the bottom. There's the Great Palace in Thailand, Kyoto and the cherry blossom in Japan. We've got the cathedrals, there's many of them. The gardens in the bay. And this top picture up here is the Taj Mahal, which is in India. Okay, so there's actually lots of things. And if you are wondering about some of what these things could be, I definitely recommend Googling it, okay? So just type one of these into Google and search images, and it'll pop up all the different beautiful images of these places. Here are some animals that you could see if you went to Asia. Here are some monkeys, Asian monkeys, okay? So the monkeys there are many monkeys in the world, right? So there are monkeys that are in South America, there are monkeys in Africa, and there are monkeys in Asia, and a lot of other places, the Caribbean. But all of these monkeys kind of look slightly different, okay? And that's because geographically, so when we think of where they are, they're in different places, okay? And they've adapted to their environments. They've changed for their environments. You also have snow leopards, polar bears, and Are there going to be snow leopards and polar bears, you think, like in China? No, right? There are not snow leopards and polar bears in China. Where in Asia do you guys think that would be? Let's go back and look at the map. Okay, it would be northern Asia, okay? So like Russia area. Okay, and then down at the bottom, we have the infamous Komodo dragon, okay? So there's a lot of lore about Komodo dragons, that they breathe fire, there's many stories about them. So you should definitely check out more about Komodo dragons. Australia. So in Australia, the main language is English, and there are different dialects of it. There are also indigenous languages, but I did not dedicate an entire screen to it because the main language is English. And then the animals you would find there are mostly marsupials. So they have a lot of marsupials, and that's what makes Australia very, very special. And among those are the kangaroo, the wombat, and the koala. So the top picture is a kangaroo. You've probably seen that before. But that middle picture is of a sweet little wombat, which I don't know if you would think they were sweet if you met one, but they look pretty cute to me. And then the bottom is of a koala. Places you could go. So in Australia, you could visit the Great Barrier Reef, okay? And that's in Sydney, right outside of Sydney. Look at that top picture of the Great Barrier Reef. You notice that there's so many colors and different corals. It's beautiful, right? I want to go there. And then the bottom are the glaciers that you would find in New Zealand. All right, and last but not least is Africa. And in Africa, there are estimated to be about 2,000 different languages. And many of these are actually native African languages. And then you also have English, French, Arabic, Swahili, Portuguese, Spanish, Afrikaans. So there are lots of different languages spoken here. Some places to see. The top picture up there and the middle picture, those are both pictures of Victoria Falls, okay, in Zimbabwe. And I don't know about you guys, but that is like the coolest picture ever. I think that is so neat. So you could go visit that. It's obviously very, very, very steep. Okay. And then at the bottom, that's a picture of a national park, okay? The national park in Kenya. So you could go there and see lots and lots of wildlife. They keep these as reserves, and wildlife roam very freely. And that's kind of, that's true of all national parks, but especially in Africa, you're going to see a whole lot more just wildlife running free in the grasslands, because you can see them all in the grasslands. And then for animals, Africa is definitely known for some of the coolest animals, I think. We have this African elephant at the top. And then we have the cheetah, in the middle picture. And that cheetah, they can run up to 70 miles per hour, guys. That is very, very incredibly fast. That's about how fast you would drive on the interstate, okay? So an animal can run that fast. And then last but not least, we have the white and black rhinos. So this is specifically a black rhino. And you might be thinking, what is on that rhino? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there are special birds that actually, they eat the insects off of rhinos, and the rhinos let them eat the insects off of them because the insects aren't good for the rhino. And so they let these birds stay on them and eat those insects off. So it's pretty neat. All right, so we talked a little bit about the continents, some things that were pretty unique about them. But I want you to think for a moment about how these continents are alike and how they're different. Okay, so just take a moment and think about how they're alike and different. And then I want you to think about 2 thinking maps that we've discussed this week that you could use to compare 2 continents. Okay, and once you think of that, I want you to head over to our assignment today. You're going to be choosing 2 continents to compare and contrast. So 2 continents, okay? And you are going to give me a list of all of the ways that they are similar. Okay, all the ways that the 2 continents you choose are similar. And then you're going to give me a list of the ways that they are different. And then tomorrow we're going to be using those lists to create a paragraph, okay? Comparing and contrasting these 2 continents. So, thank you very much for paying attention and getting to know a little bit more about the continents. This is some of my favorite stuff because we get to learn new things and see things that we might not be able to see if we weren't to travel outside of the United States. So I hope you enjoyed it too, and remember to go check out that assignment.